No one warns you what it's really like starting a business. They'll tell you about the freedom, the potential, the big wins, but they don't tell you the rest. They don't tell you about the wait, about the loneliness, about the pressure of betting everything on an idea no one else believes in yet. They don't tell you what it feels like to stare at a blank screen, a negative balance, and 100 voices in your head asking, who do you think you are? But that's where every real journey begins, not with a pitch deck, not with a logo, not with a polished website. It begins with a decision, a deep, private, soul-level decision. I will build, not because it's easy, but because I refuse to stay small. Starting a business is not just a professional pursuit, it's personal. It will expose you, test you, stretch you, break you, and if you let it, it will remake you. Because business isn't just about products, it's about people, and people are messy, emotional, unpredictable. But the entrepreneur who learns to understand people, not manipulate, but understand, gains an unfair advantage. Here's what experience will teach you, faster than any classroom ever could. 1. Clarity isn't optional, it's oxygen. If you don't know who you are, why you're doing this, and who you're doing it for, the world will decide for you. And their version of your dream will always be smaller than yours. Every great business starts with clarity. A clear problem, a clear solution, a clear mission, and a founder who is clear about who they refuse to be. Without clarity, every rejection feels like failure. Every delay feels like doom. But when you're clear, rejections are just redirections. Delays are just refinement, and you stay grounded while others spin. 2. Discipline will take you further than genius ever could. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be the smartest. But you do need to show up when no one else does. You do need to execute when it's hard. You do need to keep promises to yourself, even when you don't feel like it. Because the truth is, your business will not grow beyond the boundaries of your personal discipline. Miss your morning? You'll miss momentum. Skip the boring stuff? You'll skip the breakthrough. Ignore the details? You'll inherit disaster. If you want to lead something great, lead yourself first. 3. Purpose is fuel when profit is far away. Because there will be weeks, maybe months, when the numbers don't make sense. When the inbox is quiet. When the world doesn't care what you're building. And in those moments, if your only motivation is money, you'll quit. But if your mission is anchored in meaning, you'll stay, you'll push, you'll crawl if you have to. Because you're not building for applause, you're building for impact. And purpose doesn't just keep you going, it keeps you clean. It stops you from cutting corners, from selling what you don't believe in, from chasing trends instead of building truth. A business with purpose becomes a beacon. Customers feel it. Your team mirrors it. Your decisions reflect it. 4. People are everything. Learn this early. You can't scale without people, and not just any people, the right ones. People who buy into your vision before your product is perfect. People who align with your values, even when there's no script. People who show up for more than a paycheck. But here's the catch. To attract those people, you have to become one of those people. You want loyalty? Be loyal. You want creativity? Create space for it. You want hunger? Live hungry. Because your business will always be a reflection of your leadership. If there's chaos at the top, it trickles down. If there's clarity at the top, it expands. So, hire slow. Fire fast. Protect the culture like it's your bloodline, because it is. The right person can multiply your dream. The wrong one can destroy it in silence. 5. Resilience is your real currency. Ideas are cheap. Execution is expensive. But resilience? That's priceless. There will be moments when you lose. Deals fall through. Clients vanish. Investors ghost you. Reviews sting. Algorithms change. And it's in those moments that most quit. Not because they lack talent, but because they lacked emotional endurance. Resilience isn't about avoiding breakdowns, it's about bouncing back faster. It's learning to stand up with the lesson still in your hand. It's understanding that failure isn't final unless you stop learning. A great entrepreneur doesn't avoid failure. They extract wisdom from it. 6. Learn to wear every hat but know when to pass it off. In the beginning, you'll be the CEO, the janitor, the customer service rep, the marketer, the salesperson, and your own therapist. You'll write the emails, answer the DMs, fix the bugs, and brew the coffee. That's normal. That's necessary. That's how you build muscle. But don't stay there. Your job is to move from operator to architect, to stop working in the business and start working on it. And that shift, it takes courage. It takes letting go of control. It takes trusting others with your baby. But if you don't make that shift, you'll build a prison and call it freedom. 7. Mindset isn't part of the game. It is the game. You'll learn quickly that business is 80% inner world, 20% outer mechanics. Your website won't matter if your mind breaks under pressure. Your strategy won't matter if your self-talk is sabotage. You can have all the tools, all the knowledge, all the capital, but if you wake up thinking, I'm not enough, then every move you make will be a reaction to fear. A strong business is built on a strong mind, a mind that can stay calm when things go sideways, a mind that doesn't chase every shiny idea, a mind that can say, not now, and mean it. And that mindset, it's built daily, not through mantras, but through mental reps, through silence, through journaling, through choosing response over reaction, through reminding yourself, this is hard, and I'm built for it. 8. Decision is power. Indecision is a slow death. You won't always know the right move. You won't always have complete data, but you must decide. Momentum loves decisiveness. Customers love clarity. Your team needs direction. And even if you choose wrong, you can adjust. But choose nothing, you stall, you confuse, you drift. As a founder, your job isn't to be perfect, it's to move. To keep the vision alive by making choices, quickly, thoughtfully, unapologetically. 9. Humility will open doors that hustle never could. You'll be tempted to pretend, to act bigger than you are, to fake success until it catches up. But long-term business is built on truth, not theatrics. Clients can feel ego. Investors can smell arrogance. Teams shrink under false bravado. What wins? Humility with hunger. The courage to say, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. The discipline to listen more than you speak. The grace to ask for help without shame. Humility isn't weakness, it's wisdom wrapped in confidence. And it will keep your feet on the ground when your brand starts to rise. 10. Cash flow is your heartbeat. Ignore it, and your dream flatlines. You can't just love your craft. You have to respect your numbers. Revenue, expenses, runway, margins. These aren't just metrics, they're vital signs. And you don't need to be a financial wizard, but you do need to know your pulse. Because passion doesn't pay the bills. Vision doesn't fund the team. Conviction won't cover payroll. Learn your numbers. Watch them. Ask the uncomfortable questions. Because you can't fix what you refuse to face. 11. Vision is your compass and you better protect it. As your business grows, distractions multiply. Offers will come. Shortcuts will tempt you. Copycats will mock you. Critics will misunderstand you. And if you're not deeply rooted in why you started, you'll start drifting without even realizing it. Your vision is sacred. Guard it, speak it, align your decisions to it, because without it, you're just reacting, not leading. 12. Legacy isn't built when you sell the company. It's built every day you show up when it's hard. Every time you choose to do what's right over what's fast. Every time you hold the standard instead of chasing the sale. Every time you lead with truth instead of trend. That's when your legacy is written, not in headlines, but in habits. Not in stock prices, but in how people felt working beside you. In the clients who felt seen, the team who felt safe, the market that felt your clarity. Because a business isn't just a machine, it's a mirror. It reflects who you are, your values, your fears, your growth, your gaps. That's why this isn't just about building something out there. It's about building something in here. The longer you're in business, the more you realize this isn't a path to success. It's a path to yourself. It exposes the parts of you that were never strong enough to carry the weight. It forces you to confront the beliefs that don't belong in the next chapter. It gives you no place to hide. And in that pressure, you either fold or you forge. That's why business is the ultimate personal development journey. Because as you build it, it builds you more patient, more precise, more grounded, more resilient, more real. And one day, you'll look back not at your profit sheet, not at your awards, not at the logo, but at the version of you that emerged through the process. And you'll say, that was worth every scar, every late night, every loss I turned into a lesson. Because you didn't just build a business. You built a man. You built a woman. You built a leader who didn't quit when the storm came. You built someone who made a way when there was none. Someone who stayed when others ran. Someone who believed when no one clapped. Someone who rose not for fame, but for freedom. And in the end, that's what entrepreneurship is. Not an escape, not a shortcut, not a brand, but a becoming. So start messy, start scared, start broke. Just don't stay there. Learn, build, fail, learn again. Lead, even when your voice shakes. Decide, even when the future's blurry. Serve, even when it's thankless. Show up every single day, like it all depends on you. Because it does. And if you keep going, if you keep refining, one day the world will look at what you've built and they'll call it a company. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't just a business. It was your transformation in disguise. Life will break you. Not once, not twice. It will break you until you forget your own strength. Until the voice in your head stops sounding like you and starts echoing every failure you swore you left behind. Life will test the walls of your will, beat on the doors of your patience, and see how long you'll bleed before you rise. But here's what you must remember. Difficulty is not the enemy. It is the invitation to become what you say you are, to step into what you believe you're made of. Nobody escapes pain. Nobody avoids hardship. Nobody walks through this life untouched by fire. But some, a rare few, emerge not just unburned, but reborn, sharper, wiser, unshakable. And that is not luck. That is a choice, a path, a series of steps taken by those who refuse to be defined by what happened to them and instead define themselves by how they rise. And the first step is this: radical acceptance. Not passive, not surrender, but radical, conscious, soul-deep acceptance of what is, of what's happened, of where you are. Because denial is the first chain. You cannot defeat what you refuse to face. Stop arguing with reality. Stop wishing for a different past. You are not here to undo it. You are here to transcend it. Own it. All of it. The scars, the setbacks, the broken pieces. Because nothing begins until you do. And once you've accepted what is, step into the second truth. Inner command. Life might be chaos out there, but your mind must be a fortress. You can't control the waves, but you can become a better captain. Start with your thoughts. Interrogate them. Rewire them. Replace "why me" with "watch me." Replace "this is too much" with "I was made for this." Discipline your inner world like a warrior prepares for battle, because every day is a battle, and the war is always won first in the mind. The third step is clarity. Pain fogs your vision. It blurs your goals. It convinces you that survival is all there is. But you are not here to survive. You are here to direct. Sit with yourself. Strip away the noise. What do you want? Who do you want to become? What would victory look like in this storm? Define it. Write it. Burn it into your focus, like a lighthouse in a hurricane. Without clarity, every step feels like wandering. But with clarity, every storm becomes a step, Now comes the fourth step, purpose-driven pain. Most run from pain, but the rare few, they mine it. They pull the gold out of the darkness. They ask, what is this teaching me? Who is this shaping me into? Because pain is a sculptor. Brutal, yes, but honest. It cuts what doesn't belong. It burns away what's false. And if you can hold your pain with purpose, it will build you. Let every tear water your roots. Let every scar become your armor. Let every heartbreak sharpen your edge. You are not just surviving this, you are becoming something through it. Then comes the fifth step, massive personal ownership. No blame, no pointing fingers, no victim mindset. Whether you caused it or not, your life is your responsibility. That's not cruelty. That's power. Because the moment you stop waiting for someone to fix it, you begin. You become the architect, the builder, the one who says, if it's to be, it's up to me. You can't always control what breaks you, but you can control what you do with the pieces. Pick them up, build again, stronger, wiser, smarter. This is not the end of your story. It's the turning point. The sixth step, relentless action. You will not think your way out of a dark season. You will not overanalyze your way into healing. You will move. One step, one habit, one choice at a time. Progress is the antidote to despair. You don't need to know the whole path, just the next right step. Take it, and then the next, and then the next. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because every step you take in difficulty is double the strength. This is where resilience is born. This is where momentum begins. This is how mountains are moved, one stubborn, faithful step at a time. And when you move, step 7 emerges. Environment engineering. You cannot outgrow your environment if it constantly reminds you of who you used to be. Clean it, change it, cut what drains you, cultivate what fuels you. The people, the spaces, the conversations, they either sharpen your fire or snuff it out. Surround yourself with those who speak to your future, not your failure. And become the kind of presence that commands growth in others too. Build a world that matches your mission. Let nothing around you contradict the vision within you. And then step 8, emotional mastery. You are allowed to feel. You are not allowed to be owned by your feelings. Emotions are messengers, not masters. Feel the sadness, but don't drown in it. Feel the anger, but channel it. Feel the fear, but walk anyway. Master your emotions, not by suppressing them, but by leading them. Name them. Move through them. Use them. You are not weak for feeling. You are powerful when you harness that feeling. And what do you harness it for? That brings us to step 9, creative reinvention. Life's difficulties are often disguised invitations to evolve, to create a new way of living, a new system, a new self. Don't just survive the storm. Redesign yourself through it. Let hardship give birth to innovation, to new routines, to new ways of thinking, to a version of you that wasn't even possible before the pain arrived. And when the world says, you've changed, smile and say, exactly, because change was always the point. And then comes the 10th step, spiritual grounding. Whatever your anchor, faith, values, principles, return to it. Let it hold you steady when everything else shakes. Let it remind you this pain is not permanent. This struggle is not your identity. You are anchored to something greater than the moment, to truth, to calling, to eternity. That grounding is not weakness. It is your root system. The deeper the roots, the stronger the storm must be to move you. The 11th step, gratitude in the grind. This is not about fake smiles. It's about warrior vision, seeing the value in the battle. Being grateful not because it's easy, but because it's forging something eternal in you. Thank the difficulty not because it's pleasant, but because it's purifying. Gratitude in pain doesn't mean you like it. It means you own it. And finally, the 12th, most unstoppable step, recommitment. Not once, not twice, every day, every morning, every breath. You recommit to your vision, your future, your highest self, because life will test your consistency more than your intensity. But if you wake up and recommit again and again and again, there is nothing you cannot overcome. Nothing that can bury you, nothing that can stop you. Because you are no longer just reacting to life, you are rising through it. So rise. Not with noise, but with knowing. Not with anger, but with alignment. Not with fear, but with a ferocity rooted in clarity. Because from this moment forward, you do not see difficulties as detours. You see them as doors. Doors to deeper strength, sharper wisdom, unshakable resilience. And now, you know how to walk through them. Head high, heart open, feet grounded. Because now, you don't crumble under pressure, you crystallize. Now, you don't flinch when things fall apart, you forge new things from the rubble. Now, you don't beg for rescue, you build the ladder. The world may not see the war you fight inside, but it will feel the force of who you've become because of it. Because you are no longer just surviving this life. You are shaping it with every thought, every step, every choice that says, I do not retreat. I reclaim. Reclaim your vision. Reclaim your power. Reclaim your name, not the one the world gave you, but the one that was always written inside. The name of a builder, a leader, a finisher, a force. And when the next wave comes, and it will, you'll smile. Not because it's easy, but because you remember who you are now. You've walked through fire, and you came out carrying light. And that light, that unbreakable flame, it doesn't just illuminate your path, it lights the way for others. Because the truest mark of someone who's overcome real difficulty isn't the scars they wear, it's the strength they give away. It's the way they speak life into broken souls. It's how they show up for others when no one showed up for them. It's how they lead with presence, not performance. With peace, not pretense. That is the legacy of the overcomer. Not just to survive, not just to succeed, but to serve from the overflow of wisdom earned in the dark, because those who've walked through hell don't fear the fire. They become the fire, and they burn with grace, with focus, with a quiet, steady fury that says, I don't need everything to be easy. I just need me to be ready. And now you are, ready to face whatever comes, not because you have all the answers, but because you've mastered the one thing that matters most. You know how to keep moving forward. Not perfectly, not painlessly, but powerfully. So keep going. Carry the lessons. Carry the fire. Carry the light. And let every storm you overcome become proof that nothing will ever again have the power to hold you down. Because once you realize that the weight of the world cannot crush what's been forged from within you, stop fearing the weight. You welcome it. You say, let it come. Because now, difficulty doesn't intimidate you. It activates you. You don't hide from challenge, you hunt it. You don't pray for an easier path, you sharpen yourself for the one you've been called to walk. You rise earlier. You stay longer. You breathe deeper when others break. You move with a calm fire because you've earned it. Not with luck, but with battle-earned belief. And when others wonder how you do it, you won't need to explain. Your life will demonstrate it. Your eyes will carry the gravity of someone who's been there and didn't run. Your words will hit different because they come from experience, not theory. Your presence will shift rooms not because you seek attention, but because you carry intention. And the world listens to people who've done the hard work. So let this be your vow, that no matter what happens, you will not shrink. You will not retreat into doubt. You will not hand over your power to fear, failure, or fatigue. You will stand, rise, adapt, learn. You will overcome not someday, but every single day. Because now, that's who you are. Not a survivor, a builder, not a wanderer, a warrior, not a victim, a voice. The voice that reminds the world that difficulty is not the end. It is the evidence that something powerful is being born. And what's being born in you now cannot be stopped. Because what's rising in you now is not a phase, not a performance, not a temporary spark. It is a permanent fire. It is the result of every moment you wanted to give up and didn't. Every time you cried and got back up. Every yes to discipline when comfort screamed no. Every quiet morning when no one saw you grind, bleed, heal, rebuild. All of it, every single moment has led to this unshakable truth. You are not here to live a life of hesitation. You are here to move mountains with your presence, to command your days with precision, to stand so rooted in your resilience that the storms only make you stronger. Because the greatest transformations don't come with applause. They come in the silence of work done in private, the silence of wounds healing in the dark, the silence of decisions made when nobody's clapping. And from that silence, something unstoppable begins to emerge. Conviction, unbreakable, unshakable, unmistakable conviction. The kind that makes people stop and stare, not because you're loud, but because your life speaks so clearly. And what it says is this: I've been through fire, and I carry light. I've been through hell, and I've returned with heaven in my heart. I've been broken, but I was not buried. I was reborn. And now, you walk through life with a different posture, not seeking validation, not craving ease, but carrying the message that every difficulty life throws your way is fuel for your rise. And with that fuel, you no longer wait for the world to understand you. You become the world's reminder. That power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it simply shows up in the way you keep your word, in the way you handle pressure with poise, in the way you do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. And when difficulty knocks again, because it always will, you'll open the door, not with fear, but with fire in your eyes. You'll smile, not because you're unscathed, but because you've trained for the storm. You've become the storm. And now, life's trials no longer define you. They refine you. They sharpen your edge. They deepen your roots. They elevate your name. Because now you understand deeply, fully, that greatness was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be earned. And you're no longer afraid of the price. You're willing to pay it. Every morning you wake up and choose purpose over passivity. Every night you lay down knowing you gave it all. Not for applause, not for titles, but because there is no other way to live for someone who has seen their power. So take this fire, take this grit, take this knowing, and walk back into the world like someone who knows the truth. That no matter what life throws at you, you are not only capable, you are called. You are not only strong enough to endure, you are brave enough to build. And from this moment on, there is no difficulty that can outrun the force of who you've become. And so you walk not as who you were, but as who you've chosen to become. With each step, you no longer drag the weight of doubt. You carry the authority of discipline. You no longer run from challenge. You run toward it because you know the higher the mountain, the greater the view. This world is not soft. It's not fair. It doesn't hand out peace or clarity. But you don't need handouts. You generate your own power. You create your own clarity. You choose your own path even when it's uphill, even when it's lonely, even when it breaks you open. Because now you know the break was never meant to end you. It was meant to reveal you. The pain was not the punishment. It was the pathway. And from it, you forge something divine, something that cannot be copied, cannot be sold, cannot be faked. A spirit that refuses to fold. You've taken every hit and turned it into horsepower. You've taken every loss and turned it into leverage. You've taken every detour and turned it into direction. So now when you face the next storm, you don't ask, will I survive? You ask, what strength is this storm here to reveal? because your faith is now stronger than your fear. Your work ethic is now louder than your excuses. And your commitment, it is final, not a feeling, a decision. So stand tall, head high, eyes clear. You were not built for easy. You were built for elevation. And now that you've remembered who you are, there's nothing this life can throw at you that you can't rise through and rule over. Not anymore. And it ends not with silence, but with certainty that you forged in fire, anchored in truth, reborn in difficulty, are no longer just surviving life. You are leading it. Not by chance, not by circumstance, but by the unstoppable decision to rise again and again until your life becomes the proof that nothing can stop a soul that refuses to quit. The world won't hand you transformation. It will hand you tests. It will hand you silence. It will hand you rejection, betrayal, and failure dressed in 1,000 disguises. But transformation, that's your responsibility, your choice, your inner war. And here's the final brutal truth. Success doesn't care how much potential you have. It only cares how much pain you're willing to endure without giving up your purpose. You either find a way or you find an excuse. But both paths end with a legacy, one you're proud of or one you regret. Strategy number 1, take radical ownership. Not partial, not polite. Radical. Own every loss. Own every choice. Own every delay, every detour, every crack in your foundation. You cannot fix what you refuse to claim. You cannot rise above what you still blame. And when you stop saying, "This happened to me," and start saying, "This happened for me," now the game changes. Because now you've taken the power back. You're no longer a victim. You're a builder, a refiner, a sculptor of your own story. And your hands bruised, bloodied, blistered, they are the hands that will craft your legacy brick by brick. Strategy 2, reframe the narrative. What if your greatest failure wasn't the curse, but the catalyst? What if the divorce, the debt, the breakdown, what if that was the exact pressure you needed to become the person you pretended to be before life made you earn it? Pain doesn't lie. It tells you exactly where your foundations are weak, where your beliefs are broken, where your character needs fire. So stop resisting it. Start reading it. Every failure is a script, a blueprint. But most people are too busy complaining to study it. You want to turn failure into success? Start by reading the very story it's trying to teach you. Strategy 3, focus on internal alignment, not external approval. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they live divided. One part wants purpose, another wants comfort. One part wants to build, the other wants to be liked. One part wants truth, the other wants applause. But you cannot serve two masters. The man who is fully aligned, whose thoughts, actions, values, and vision all walk the same path, is unstoppable. He may move slowly, but every step compounds. He may go unseen, but every step is sacred. You must stop editing yourself to fit environments that were never designed for your growth. Be aligned, not liked. Strategy 4, make peace with failure as your teacher, not your judge. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to evolve. You are here to sharpen, to refine, to be humbled and hardened and shaped by the storms life sends you. But that requires humility, not shame humility. Shame says, "I am broken." Humility says, "I have work to do." Shame keeps you in hiding. Humility keeps you in motion. One chains your potential, the other releases it. Strategy 5, raise your standards before you raise your results. Most people think they need motivation to succeed. No, they need higher standards. They need to look at their current habits, associations, and daily choices and declare, this is no longer acceptable. Because the gap between failure and success is often not intelligence or luck, it's standards. What you tolerate becomes your template. What you accept in silence becomes the blueprint of your identity. You don't get what you want. You get what you demand from yourself first. Strategy 6, audit your environment with ruthless honesty. You can't grow in soil that chokes your roots. You can't evolve surrounded by people who fear your expansion. The people who laugh at your failures are not the people who will cheer your victories. And some of them are in your circle not because they love you, but because they're comfortable with your limits. Clean house. Upgrade your influences. Follow energy, not history. You are not obligated to shrink for people who chose the path of least resistance. Strategy 7. Develop emotional mastery. You will never rise above the level of your emotional discipline. Failure is an emotional earthquake. If you are not grounded, it will consume you. But if you are trained, if you have built the muscle to feel deeply and still move forward, to face rejection and still act in alignment, you become unstoppable. Don't suppress your emotions. Master them. Let them pass through you, not control you. Feel them, learn from them, but never let them hijack your vision. Strategy 8. Invest more in wisdom than in validation. The world is drowning in opinions and starving for wisdom. Success leaves clues, but most people are too busy chasing trends to notice. Seek depth. Study the greats. Read the words of those who fell and rose again. Don't just seek mentors, seek mentorship. Don't just chase new, pursue true. The wisdom that will transform your life is often hidden in the discipline you've been avoiding. Strategy 9. Make process your obsession. Results are fleeting. Identity is forever. Most people chase the finish line, but those who win long-term, they fall in love with the training. They become addicted to refinement. They don't just work hard, they work wholly. Every rep, every repetition, every failure in the gym of life becomes sacred. If you're not falling in love with the process, you'll never survive the pain required to earn the prize. Strategy 10. Be consistent when it's boring. Success is not sexy. It's not viral. It's not entertaining. It's consistency in the shadows, repetition in silence, progress when no one claps. Anyone can show up when they're inspired. The greats show up when they're exhausted, overlooked, and under fire because greatness is built in the monotony. Boredom is not the enemy, distraction is. Strategy 11. Stop negotiating with doubt. Doubt is not your advisor, it's your assassin. The moment you start reasoning with it, you've already lost ground. You don't have to silence doubt. You have to starve it. Starve it of time, starve it of energy, starve it of attention. Feed your faith, feed your focus, feed your future. Starve everything else. Strategy 12. Turn your pain into purpose. Don't just move on, move through. Don't just get over it. Grow from it. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the loss, it wasn't just pain. It was preparation. It was revelation. It was assignment. And once you learn to turn that pain into power, no storm will ever be wasted again. You become the kind of person who walks through fire, not to survive it, but to redeem it. Strategy 13. Build discipline like a sacred ritual, not just for work, for life. Discipline is the evidence that you love your future self. It's the language of self-respect. It's the secret handshake between your present and your potential. And every time you choose discipline over distraction, you cast a vote that says, I am worthy of the future I desire. Strategy 14. Fail forward faster. Don't delay the lesson. Don't fear the fall. Make the move. Take the shot. Launch before it's perfect. Say yes before you're ready. Life rewards velocity, backed by intention. While others wait for clarity, you create it. Because clarity doesn't precede movement. It follows it. Strategy 15. Anchor it all in identity. Who are you becoming? That is the real scoreboard. Not what you've built, but who you've become. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you align with. And when you build an identity that is congruent with greatness, success doesn't become the exception. It becomes the inevitable. Because at the end of the day, all strategy, all action, all progress flows from the same source, who you believe you are. So believe differently, act accordingly, rise relentlessly. You are not your failure. You are not your delay. You are not your doubt. You are becoming. And the world, whether it knows it or not, is waiting for you to rise. Then listen with your whole being. Because what comes next is not just instruction, it's activation. You've walked through the storm. You've tasted the ashes of your own collapse. You've watched doors close, people walk, and dreams shatter in slow motion. And yet you're still breathing. Do you understand what that means? It means your story is still being written. It means the ink of your becoming hasn't dried. It means what you've survived is not a signal to shrink, it's a command to rise with fury, with fire, with resolve so deep it shakes the ground beneath your feet. Because here's the truth most never grasp. Turning failure into success is not about avoiding the pit. It's about becoming the kind of person who can build a ladder out of rubble, who can climb with cut hands and weary bones and say, I may bleed, but I never break. So if you're still breathing, build again. Build with what you've got. Build with the tools life gave you: pain, patience, silence, scars, instinct, wisdom. Build even if the world isn't watching. Build even if no one claps. Build until the bricks you laid in darkness become the foundation others stand on in the light. You've got to stop waiting for certainty, waiting for permission, waiting for the pain to stop. It doesn't stop, but you get stronger. You stop needing it to end, and you start using it. Because power comes from progress, and progress comes from persistence. Not the loud kind, not the glamorous kind, but the kind that keeps showing up after failure, after heartbreak, after rejection. The kind that walks into the fire again and again and again, saying, I will either come out forged or I will not come out at all. You've come too far to stop now. And yes, there are still more battles to fight, more wounds to take, more nights of silence, more days where the progress feels microscopic. But if you keep going, if you refuse to fold something, divine happens. You wake up one day, and the pain you thought would break you became the pressure that built you. You look in the mirror, and the failure you thought would define you became the furnace that refined you. You see your reflection, not as the person who lost, but as the warrior who refused to die in the valley. That's what this is about. Not just turning failure into success, but turning it into strength, into standard, into spiritual currency that can never be taken from you. This is not about chasing what the world calls success. This is about building the kind of soul the world can't ignore. Because when that soul speaks, even your silence shakes rooms. And when that soul moves, even your failures make way for victory. So keep building, keep rising, keep walking like you were chosen for more, because you were. Then let's keep going deeper, harder, sharper. Because now we're beyond motivation, beyond feel-good words. Now we're into the marrow of what separates the rare from the average, the legendary from the forgotten. Those who fold in failure from those who forge kingdoms out of it. Listen, failure was never meant to stop you. It was meant to strip you. Strip away the comfort. Strip away the lies. Strip away the illusion that the path would be easy. It was meant to burn away the ego, the laziness, the fantasies, so what's left is pure, authentic, battle-tested, bulletproof. And now you are here, standing in that purifying fire. But this next part, it's critical, because many rise for a season only to fall again. Not because they weren't worthy, not because they weren't gifted, but because they forgot what forged them. So strategy 16, never forget the cost. Never forget the nights you cried in silence. Never forget the jobs you worked that stole your energy, but paid for your dream. Never forget the betrayal that forced you to believe in yourself when no one else would. Never forget the hunger, the isolation, the rejection. Because when success begins to whisper, take it easy. You've made it. You better remember exactly what you walked through to get here. Gratitude is not just about being thankful, it's about being rooted, grounded, connected to the source of your rise. And that source, it wasn't applause. It wasn't luck. It was your decision to not die in defeat. You rose, and that rise must be protected. Strategy 17, protect the standard at all costs. The most dangerous lie is not that you'll fail. The most dangerous lie is that you can start to relax before the mission is complete. And make no mistake, you are on a mission to become everything you were designed to be, to leave nothing buried inside you, to live in such a way that death finds you empty, not full of untapped greatness. So when you reach a new level, raise the standard again. When success begins to flow, raise the intensity, raise the focus, raise the discipline, because success is rented and the rent is due every day. Most people downgrade their dreams to fit their discipline, but the rare ones, they upgrade their discipline to match their vision. Be rare. Strategy 18. Teach from your scars, not your wounds. Everyone's loud when they're angry. Everyone wants to post when they're hurt. But wisdom waits. Wisdom doesn't bleed on others, it builds from the bleeding. If failure taught you something real, teach it, but teach it after you've healed, after you've processed, after you've turned the pain into perspective. Don't infect others with your bitterness. Inspire them with your breakthrough. Your scars are sacred, and the world is starving for voices that have walked through fire and lived to speak life. Strategy 19. Plant seeds in your winter. Most people wait for the perfect season to begin. They wait for motivation, for support, for clarity. But winners, builders, they plant when it's dark, when it's cold, when there's no guarantee. They sow in silence. They plant in faith. And while the world sleeps, they're preparing for a harvest no one sees coming. Don't wait for spring. Create it. Strategy 20. Move with urgency, not anxiety. There's a difference. Anxiety says, I'm behind, I'm not enough, I'm out of time. But urgency says, I'm here for a reason and I refuse to waste another second. Your clock is ticking, not in fear, in fire, in purpose, in destiny. Every delay is disrespect to the calling that was placed on your life. So move like your future depends on it, because it does. And if no one understands your urgency, that's okay. They didn't survive your storm. They didn't wrestle with your regret. They don't know what it cost you to believe again. But you do. And that's enough. Because in the end, it's not about proving anyone wrong. It's not about being liked, praised, or admired. It's about becoming undeniable. Undeniable in your effort. Undeniable in your growth. Undeniable in your character, your mindset, your execution. So that when the next failure comes, and it will, you don't question yourself. You don't shrink. You smile because you know exactly what to do. Then brace yourself, because what comes now is not just the conclusion, it is the crowning. This is the moment where every setback is given a name, where every loss is seen for what it was, not a punishment but a prophecy. The moment where every scar you carry begins to glow with purpose, and you realize it was all building you. The silence taught you how to listen to yourself. The rejection taught you how to stand alone. The bankruptcy taught you how to rebuild from nothing. The heartbreak taught you how to protect your soul. The failure taught you how to rise without applause. And now you are here, forged, focused, and free. Not because you had it easy, but because you chose not to die in the difficulty. You chose to rise. And that rise is not just for you anymore. Because now you're carrying more than your own dream. You're carrying the blueprint for those still stuck in their pain. You're carrying the map for the ones who haven't seen the light yet. You're carrying legacy. Legacy isn't built in wins. Legacy is built in the weight you carry when no one else sees and you carry it anyway. Because you knew the climb wasn't just about reaching the top. It was about becoming the kind of person who could lift others from the bottom. So don't ever think for 1 second that your pain was wasted. Don't ever let anyone convince you that your failure disqualifies you. Your failure qualified you. It qualified you for wisdom. It qualified you for depth. It qualified you to speak with authority, not because you studied success, but because you survived the war to earn it. So now, walk. Walk like someone who has nothing to prove, but everything to give. Walk like someone who's been refined by fire and now carries light. Walk like someone who's been through hell and came back holding the keys. Let the world watch. Let them wonder how you did it. Let them whisper, that's the one who turned failure into fire. Because that's who you are now. You are not broken. You are built. You are not ruined. You are reborn. And your future? Your future is not a maybe. It's a must. So go. Not timidly, not cautiously, but boldly, unapologetically, unshakably. Go create. Go build. Go lead. Go become everything that failure tried to keep buried. And when you reach the mountaintop, don't just plant your flag. Plant your roots. Because you didn't come this far to visit greatness. You came to live there. Now go take your place. This is just the beginning.